The situation on the eastern Ukrainian front has significantly worsened in recent days, according to General Alexander Sukru, Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. This deterioration is attributed to the renewed and intensified Russian offensive, especially around the town of Chasiv Yar. Let's bring in Professor Mehmet Sukru Guzel, the founding president of the Center for Peace and Reconciliation Studies. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much, and I'm honored to be invited for your program, dear Doctor.
Okay, let's start the Global Affairs Insider. What are your thoughts on the current situation in the eastern part of Ukraine?
Today, the Russian army intensified its offensive along several strands of more than 1,000 kilometers long front line. But let's think about the main concept, the warring capacity of the states to define the situation. In a general concept, to understand as of today, Ukraine before the war was not ready for this kind of a prolonged war. And when we say the war capacity, it's the sustaining capacity of the world, and Ukraine doesn't have this capacity. And Ukraine depends on the military aid from the other states. And the current situation signifies the potential future loss of Ukraine, as all the experts, and including Zelensky, say so. So the states who support Ukraine seems to come to an end of giving military support for Ukraine on budget crisis on the expense of war. But the question is that can there be a game-changing war policy for Ukraine for not to lose? And the answer is unfortunately no. And what the war material Ukraine needs is to balance the equitation in the field and not to win. So there is a reality. In this war, Ukraine cannot win, and everybody knows. But we have to see two possible things. I mean, Ukraine is a game-changing policy trying to attack refineries of Russia to put Russia in economic crisis as Ukraine itself, and define them as military targets. But the US opposes this and define the refineries as a civilian target, but not. But because afraid of the global effect on the petroleum prices, the inflation in the global south, and the effects for this. And when it comes to an end of military support for Ukraine, I mean, for the shells, when Russia sends 5 shells, Ukraine can hardly send 1 shell. But I will add something different, because today, in fact, Russia doesn't try to win. This is an important point that everybody misunderstood, but it's not misunderstood mainly, but especially politically give a misconcept to the world. And this war will finish in 2026. I will continue. And why I say that is that the understanding of Russia, the military objective as of today, is to try to generate a sense of hopelessness for not only to Ukrainian army, but for the Ukrainian citizens. Army means officers, but citizens mean soldiers, citizens means nation. And a prolonged war with Ukraine by Russia is a kind of a new policy of making a war to make the other side to feel that they cannot win. And I will come maybe afterwards the concept of win and defeat. Russia is not trying to win as of today, and Ukraine is losing. But when Ukraine is to lose, the West is to lose. So the game is different. We are not talking about a military action. It is about a global support, and this is why I do believe that Russia, even with the capacity of making a breakthrough operation on this kind of trench war and a kind of reaching Kiev, doesn't want to do so, not only for the urban warfare or the human rights violations, but the Russian army wants not only Ukraine, but the West to lose. This is the critical point. So we have to understand a different kind of strategy of Russia.
Okay. For the second inquiry, Professor Mehmet, how should Ukraine protect itself in this kind of situation given the intensified action coming from the Russian force?
Okay. When there is a war, it is about for many calculations, and every war, in fact, means a cut of dialogue and warring aims of the parties. But let us come to a position. This is the technical point on the, as if you think of a defense analyst, for the first mistake of the Ukraine and the mistake of Zelensky and the mistake of Ukraine military. If Ukraine had made this military mobilization based on the important indicators of Russian possible attack, today there won't be a war. As we remember that the CIA directors, the White House, or many people said that Russia prepared an army of about 50,000 near the border and is to attack. But if Ukraine, the concept of mobilization had been made, Russia will not dare to do so. But there is also rumors in Geneva. Geneva is a kind of diplomatic stick, and there are so much rumors. Russia also thought that, to Putin, this is not a war. This is why they call it a special operation. Because what is said that Putin believed, or some made Putin believe that there would be a coup d'etat on the day of the attack by the Russian-supported generals in the Ukrainian army, and everything will be done in a few days. So, in fact, Russia did not attack as a total war concept, and this is impossible. Even a local degree officer can understand that attacking to Kiev and Ukraine with a total force of 150,000 means nothing, and it cannot be achieved. So, what we have today is the wrong calculations, mistake of leadership on both sides, Russia and Ukraine. And how Ukraine can protect itself? Well, everybody knows that the military aim of West giving support to Ukraine is that to make the resistance of Ukraine army, and everybody knows this, Ukraine cannot get back, but with the military power, the territories is own, that is known as Luhansk, Oblast, and Crimea. But I can tell you something on the Russian side. We are also to protect itself in each kind of situation. On the legal point of view, Russia doesn't need to occupy Crimea within the UN legal system. Russia can take peacefully under the UN legal system Crimea back, because when Ukraine become a member of the United Nations, Crimea belongs to the Russia, not to Ukraine. There are some technical details, I'm sure for that. And when we look before the war, Donetsk and Luhansk and the Minsk agreements is a kind of wrong definition of an ethnic conflict and doesn't define the demands of the people. So, in fact, what everybody says is, this is not a war of Crimea, Donetsk or Luhansk. And everybody says that if the policy of foreign policy of Ukraine doesn't change after 2014, this war will not happen. So if the policy of Ukraine was as of like the 2000s or in the beginning of this century, this will not be a war. So what we have to understand one thing, The important point is the war aim of Russia. The war aim of Russia is not Crimea, Donetsk or Luhansk. The war aim of Russia is to prove that Russia is a still big power state. Now, this is the origin of the war. Many academicians, defense organizations, high officials, and including some presidents of the US define Russia as a middle state power. And they say that Russia is no more a superpower. When you define Russia as a no more superpower, it gives signals for the existence of the state survival of Russia. States enter war sometimes with their fears. And if Russia is not to enter a war as of today for their acceptance, this is a preventive war for them to enter a future war, if not to Ukraine. If not Ukraine becomes a NATO member, if not today, but after 30 years, then Russia will have a much more problematic war and they have to be defeated. So this war for Russia is to prevent another war. And so when superpowers are superpowers, they control the foreign policy of their neighbors. They don't give a chance. I mean, even the world, in a unipolar world system or superpowers, they punish the other states if they are with the other side of the states, with economic sanctions or other kind of policies. So we have to know, and Ukraine needs to know that this war is not the objective for Ukraine, Donetsk, Luhansk, or Crimea, but it is an instrument for Ukraine to be targeted to protect the image of Russia as still a superpower state, to protect itself for Central Asia, Turkish republics, or Africa, and for their future. A defeated foreign policy of Ukraine will mean the end of superpower foreign policy of Russia. Thank you.
Professor Mehmet Sukru Guzel, the founding president of the Center for Peace and Reconciliation Studies. Thank you.
This is my pleasure to be invited. Thank you very much, dear Dan.
This is Dr. Reyron del Rosario. That's the Global Affairs Insider. Follow us to our next episode only here in IPDCI News Channel.